Now, waves of attacks and counterattacks, while talks continue, the same pattern appears to be repeating in the latest round of confrontation between the United States and Iran. If one side escalates, the other follows suit. In the meantime, the dance of good cop and bad cop continues to dominate the narrative on both sides. The American President Donald Trump is taking the hard line, but this time he's being cautious about deadlines. Now, Donald Trump, who gave one deadline after another during the previous confrontation, is now saying that he does not like to give deadlines, but he's warned that Iran must behave.
I don't like giving deadlines, but they pretty much know the story. They better behave.
Now, there is no deadline for escalation, but the US president had earlier said that strikes will continue until the Iranian negotiators come to the table to finalize a deal. Now, on the other hand, Vice President J.D. Vance has raised concerns over the approach of indefinite bombing. And this is where the two leaders differ. In a podcast with Joe Rogan, the American vice president said, and I quote, "You can take away their radars, you can also take away some of their drones and some of their missiles, but it's just too easy to fire at ships in the straits. So you've got to actually be willing to talk and to try to figure out the problem." Now, the Iranian side is also following a very similar pattern. Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Mujtaba Khamenei has openly vowed to take revenge of his father's assassination. And earlier, he had released a statement expressing his dissent over the Memorandum of Understanding with the United States. Now, similarly, Iran's military command center has warned to blow up all infrastructure of West Asia if the US conducts attacks on Iran's civilian infrastructure. However, the negotiators are towing a much softer line.
Should the recent threats by the President of the United States to target the infrastructure of the Islamic Republic of Iran be carried out by that country's aggressive military, then everything that, due to Iran's restraint, has so far remained intact, namely all infrastructure in the region, will be crushed under the steel blows of the powerful armed forces of the Islamic Republic of Iran to such an extent that no trace of them will remain, as though they had never existed.
Iran's chief negotiator Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf has said that his country does not welcome war and will never do it. He's also blamed the United States for not honoring the negotiated agreement and has vowed to uphold the rights of the Iranian people. The statement was read by an Iranian news anchor.
During the negotiations, we also secured recognition of Iran's arrangements for the Strait of Hormuz by standing firm. Now that the United States, from a legal standpoint, is empty-handed, it's trying to undermine those Iranian arrangements through force. But we must stand by what we achieved so that the rights of the people are realized.
Both sides are offering an olive branch to each other while simultaneously attacking one another. The dance of the good cop and the bad cop, and also the loop of escalation, talks, de-escalation and deadlock continues. But the cost of it is pretty high, and the whole world is, of course, watching with a lot of uncertainty. And earlier we spoke with retired Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis, who is a military expert and also the host of Daniel Davis on Deep Dive on YouTube. Listen to what he had to say.
I don't know that it's a good cop, bad cop so much, as at least on the American side, as it is that they're just struggling to find some kind of a strategy that everybody can get behind. Because we had this one where we were trying diplomacy. We had the ceasefire that went into effect in April, and then that turned into a blockade, kind of quasi trying to get a memorandum of understanding. We finally got that. But then we didn't even come close to giving it the 60 days it was supposed to. President Trump got impatient just days into this, and he started changing the terms almost immediately and imposing things that the Iranian side was not going to agree to. And then it turned into kinetic stuff. And so now then you have Vice President Vance saying one thing and President Trump saying something different. And the real issue is, what is the America stance? Because I'm not sure even the Americans know on that. Of course, if we don't know, if we don't have a single voice, then it's going to be nearly impossible to have a diplomatic side with the other side, who also has different views on within their government about what they're going to think.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.